If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Get Certified Together program is created by Technocofe, your free online knowledge sharing website, based out in London.
Scenarios which can impact my cloud day-to-day functioning, and that is quite important if you really want to work in a real world scenario, or even if you are not working but you want to learn about cloud security as a whole. You should know different type of threats which are there out there and ready to attack you. And just to give you a pointer here, threats, risk and vulnerabilities is a big topic we have already covered as part of Security Plus. If you guys want to revisit Hello, good morning, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Get Certified Together series. This is episode number 22nd. I am recording second episode of year 23 and we have already spent 2 weeks into the new year. Time is just going by and we are still way behind our schedule of wrapping up the whole syllabus of CCSP. I'm sure you guys must be putting in a lot of efforts at your home as well, and I myself is trying my best to learn more things, to share as much knowledge with you guys as I can. Let me share one exciting news with you guys first. It's raining today in London, just like it did yesterday and day before yesterday and day before yesterday. So nothing new to be honest, but I have to share weather news just like any good podcast host. I'm not sure whether other guys share it, but I like to share the weather information. So before I dive into today's topic, I want to share few feedbacks which I received for last week episode, and I'm grateful for those because they helped me realize that what I was doing wrong. One of the feedback was related to the voice quality and volume level of the voice. What that listener mentioned is when someone is doing outdoor activities, they are not able to hear my voice properly in their earphones, and I tried same thing myself because I myself listen to all the other podcasts when I do my morning run, and it's quite unfair of me if my voice is not loud enough that someone can hear it while they are outside. So I tried listening to my voice myself while doing workout, and it was strange at time because I was doing push-ups and listening to my voice telling me about cloud security. But yeah, it made me realize that voice level is indeed very low, and from this week onwards, I have fine-tuned the settings and hopefully voice quality will be much better this time. Still, if you guys have the similar issue, then let me know please. Another feedback which I received was related to advertisements. And this is actually surprising for me because I was not aware of any advertisements during my episodes and podcasts because this is something which I don't control. This is something which is done by my podcast hosting platform, and they actually insert the advertisement when I upload my episode by themselves. And from my side, what I can do, I check with them, and what I can do is I can insert the proper pointers, proper timelines where those advertisements will be playing from now onwards. Because I can completely understand that it is irritating when you are listening to some information, you are trying to learn something, and suddenly someone comes up with a random advertisement in between. So thanks again for that feedback as well. Both of them have been taken care of, and hopefully you will not face similar issue again from this week onwards. But if still you're having similar kind of issues, you can of course provide a feedback on the comment section from any of podcast platform which you are using, or you can tweet about it as well to directly to my Twitter handle. I'll be sharing my account details today in this week's episode, and we can reach out there as well. Another thing which I want to share with you guys is a new social media platform is here. I'm not sure it's new, it's quite old now, but I have created account on it last week. Mastodon. It is very good for anyone who is already in this field or who want to go into the similar field, because community is very strong. There are a lot of experts already formed, and they are sharing their day-to-day updates related to the kind of work which they are doing or kind of learning which they are doing. Let me give you one example. I was actually trying to create one resource from Terraform on my AWS cloud, and I got some error which I just pasted on that platform, and someone actually reached me out from the community and started giving me suggestions how to resolve that. And that's quite good, right? This is something which is no more in Twitter, as in Twitter you have a lot of irrelevant stuff as well, which is not bad, but it is distracting at a times if you are really into technology field and you are really into mind of learning or doing something new, and in between you find irrelevant stuff. And I suggest you guys, if you want to join, if you're not already there, if you want to join, you should go check it out and join that community, join that platform. I'm already there. I'll put my handle for that media platform as well, so you guys can get in touch with me there as well, and we can of course proceed about our discussions related to cloud and cloud security there as well. Okay, so before moving into today's topic, let me just go through the syllabus and check all the pointers, all the topics which we have covered till now. We have understood about cloud computing concepts. Already I have discussed with you guys about cloud reference architecture. And last week episode itself, we have covered understanding security concepts relevant to the cloud computing. In that topic itself, I have covered cryptography and key management system, access security, network and virtualization security, and data and media sanitization, which includes overwriting, cryptographic erasure. So I'm sure you guys must have not forgotten those topics, but if you are, then I suggest that you can go and check those episodes out again. Now let us proceed towards the main topic of today, which is common threats to the cloud. Now before we move into the main topic of today, common threats to the cloud, let me give a break here, and I'll give this point of time to my podcast platform so that they can put advertisement here. I don't want again for you guys to spoil the mood, and I'll just stop there now itself, and let's wait for advertisement to run through. All right, welcome back. Did it work or did not? I'm not sure. I have to listen it again once this episode is live. Only then I can check whether advertisement is really in that place. But let's hope it really works this time. Now, before we move into the common threats to the cloud, let us head back a little and think from the perspective of security. I am a security engineer. I have been hired by an organization to work on cloud security model. I have to understand about cloud computing concepts, right? I have to understand what kind of deployment model they are using. I have to understand what kind of services they are running on cloud, what kind of service model they are using cloud, why they used cloud at first place. Are they taking care of all the benefits? Are they having all the characteristics of cloud? I made sure everything. I have relevant people with different roles in the organization as well, which are working on cloud, cloud engineer, cloud architect, cloud operations engineer. And I also know myself what are different aspects which need to be secured, like for example, network security, virtualization security, access control. I know all of them. I am an expert now. Not really. I still don't know what kind of threats are there for the cloud. I still don't know how someone can attack my system. What are different kind of scenarios which can impact my cloud day-to-day functioning. And that is quite important if you really want to work in a real world scenario, or even if you are not working but you want to learn about cloud security as a whole. You should know different type of threats which are there out there and ready to attack you. And just to give you a pointer here, threats, risk, and vulnerabilities is a big topic we have already covered as part of Security Plus. If you guys want to revisit and brush your concepts again, you can go and check that episode out again. I strongly advise, because Security Plus was the baseline, and you should know those concepts by yourself now. If not, then you guys can go and check and revise yourself and get up to the mark for it. All right, so very first threat to the cloud computing solution is what? Just think over what we are storing on the cloud. What is the most critical aspect which we always talk about when we talk about information security or cloud security? It is, of course, data. Data is very important. Data is crucial, and it is important for any organization to keep its data secure. Now, when you're going towards a cloud computing solution, what you're doing is you're putting your data onto the cloud. You're putting your data onto someone else's data center, onto someone else's server. What is the first and foremost threat which you think whenever we talk about data is someone accessing that data without your permission? Anyone accessing your confidential information is actually breaching your confidentiality. Data of your organization, data of your customers, data of your maybe employees, that always must be secured, because any breach in data, anyone accessing that data without your knowledge is breach in confidentiality, and it's breaking CIA triad. Again, I remind you, CIA triad is always the base of any security. Even though we are moving towards cloud, we still have to keep in mind that we have to make sure there is always three things which are taken care of: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, in terms of data, anyone accessing your data without your information or without having proper rights is breach and is actually a kind of threat. Now, when you are putting every information on cloud, blast radius is bigger because you are putting your information out there on the internet, and you are not sure which server or which data center or which physical location this information will be placed upon. So you are running some application or you are running some database on AWS. You don't know where AWS is actually holding it physically, right? So everything is open now. A lot of people are using the same server, same infrastructure, same cloud solution parallelly, simultaneously. So you can understand the criticality here, right? Anyone who have proper access rights, any breach in that can undermine your security. Anyone who can come in and just barge into your database and modify the files or simply hack the files and make it public to everyone in the world is not good for your organization. And that's why data breach is one of the key cloud computing threats. What is more important in terms of cloud is tenants or different customers are using the same physical server to host their own data. Where you are accessing is through APIs, through internet. You never know who is sitting out there and performing man in the middle attacks to get hold of your information which you are sharing across. So data breach is one of the threat which was there before but is now more critical, more crucial than ever. Just like data breach, another terminology we use is data loss. Data loss is a bit different than data breach. In data breach, what we discussed about is someone accessing your information. In data loss, what we are thinking about is a threat scenario where you lose your data altogether. So maybe you are not taking your backups properly, maybe you are not taking snapshots, you are not keeping your data secure. Then you're going to lose the data if something goes wrong with your solution. For example, if you are running a database on a virtual machine in cloud, if you are not creating a proper design, something goes wrong with that virtual machine, your whole information is gone. So you have to make sure that you have a DR site for it. You have to make sure that there are proper backup schedule in place. That's one of the workaround for data loss. And of course, you have to make sure that the cloud engineers who are working or managing your cloud infrastructure are up to date about the new ways or new technologies to work upon cloud. Otherwise a single click on laptop can actually remove your information altogether and completely gone. This is difference between cloud and on-prem based model, because on-prem data center is within your premise. Maybe you can try to have some other ways to retrieve the information which is lost. But in case of cloud, everything is virtualized, and if you lose your virtual machine, if you lose your containers, everything is gone. You cannot do anything. You cannot simply approach AWS about retrieving those information. So data loss, like data breach, is critical in terms of cloud computing. And while we are discussing about data which has been lost or data which can be breached, let us discuss about how normally we communicate with cloud computing. We normally use APIs. APIs are application programming interface, and APIs are simple HTTP messages which flow on the internet, and you can send and perform any kind of day-to-day work using those APIs to your cloud. And you can perform any kind of day-to-day work by sending those API calls to your cloud service provider and perform anything you want. You can maybe retrieve the information, you can delete or create new services, create new resources. Again, APIs are running on HTTPS, they are on internet, and if you are not using secure way of communicating, anyone can breach them. Anyone can come in and look into those APIs to retrieve critical information which you might not be aware of. For example, if you are doing some testing with a third party vendor, and for that testing, actually what you require is you send an API call via that third party service or via that third party application to your cloud. Now from your side, you're making sure that you are using HTTPS protocol, you are making sure you are using up to date security features, but maybe there is some random token being generated for your whole session which actually give admin rights to your whole API call, your whole account from which you are sending the API call, and you are indirectly sharing that token information to the third party application. Someone can come in and hack that third party application, and indirectly what you did was you lose all your tokens to someone else because you are working through some third party application. So it's very important that you are making sure the kind of solution which you are designing on cloud is secure. The third party application which you are using for your testing, your deployment, are up to date, are using exactly same security posture as recommended for you by your organization. So everything is distributed now, and cloud security professionals have to touch upon different things, different companies, different organizations to make sure data is secure and data is safe and confidential. Earlier, everything was in-house, your whole organization database was in-house, so it was more controlled. Now, control is less, so situation demands you to be more vigilant, to think over more of different scenarios, more of different unexpected behaviors which can happen and which can impact your organization's security posture. And while we are discussing about this access issue because of API testing or API communication, let us discuss a bit more about access or accounting as a whole. Access control is one of the security concepts we have already covered, and related to same is threat due to accounting. So you are creating the user accounts without taking proper care of what user rights each account should be having, or without properly segregating different roles, different policies. So different scenario can happen, and anyone can come in and try to use those credentials, try to harvest those credentials and impact your organization's security posture, cloud computing security posture. Now, another key threat to the cloud services, which is quite unexpected, but it is there, is someone using your cloud computing resources to attack some other organization. How does it happen actually? I told you cloud is scalable. Cloud have unlimited resources, and you can create a lot of virtual machines just on a matter of seconds from your laptop itself. Cloud have immense resources. If your organization have given you rights to create a virtual machine, you can create X number of virtual machine. Someone has to pay the money and they can create X number of resources, X number of virtual machine or containers. If you lose your account, or if your account is hacked and someone else can come in and create virtual machine on your behalf, or if you lose access to your own virtual machine and someone hacked into those virtual machine, what they really have is a computer with lot of resources, unlimited RAM, unlimited CPU. They can use those virtual machine, those big virtualized computers, to be created as a botnet and attack some other organization. They can use it to maybe create a distributed denial of service attack on some other organization, or maybe they can host their crypto mining application onto your virtual machine which you have created for your organization. So what is happening is you are paying for those virtual machine and someone else is using them for their own use, and this is not good for any organization. And that's one of the threat as well when you are working on cloud, when you are working as a cloud security professional. And last but not least is insider threat. This is age-old problem. Any employee which was working or which is working in your organization, who have relevant rights, who have information about your whole architecture, who know how your cloud solution is deployed, can actually have ill intent and impact your organization's day-to-day working by planting some worm or planting some viruses. And this problem, even though we are moving into cloud, still remains same. Malicious insiders are always there, and those are the problem which, as a cloud security professional, someone have to consider when they are thinking about threats to the cloud computing. So this brings us end to the understanding security concept relevant to the cloud computing topic. We have covered 3 topics from domain 1 now. Moving on to the 4th topic of this domain, which is understanding design principle of secure cloud computing. Now let me revisit again. We know about cloud computing concept, we know about cloud architectures, we know about different type of threats to the cloud, we know about different type of security concepts relevant to the cloud. Now we have to understand that what should be our design principle to make sure that our cloud computing is secure. So those design principles may include secure data lifecycle, they will include disaster recovery planning, business continuity planning, cost benefit analysis, and functional security requirements, for example, portability, interoperability. We have discussed about all these pointers during discussing key consideration and what is cloud computing, what are different cloud computing security concepts. Now we will create the design based on those security concepts. And very first design principle for this should be data lifecycle. We have to make sure that our data is secure and we are not losing it, we are not allowing anyone to breach it. That's one of the key security concepts which we have learned just now. And now let us discuss about how we can make sure that that whole data lifecycle is secure. Now, just understand one thing, data is the most valuable asset for any organization. And depending on the value of the information which that data hold, it can get really critical. For example, if you're in a banking industry, credit card information or user account information or user or customer social security number, they are critical for any banking organization and most valuable asset for that bank or for that company. So those things, so those information, those data need to be secured at any cost. So what is secure data lifecycle? Let us discuss about data lifecycle first. Data lifecycle is simple. Generation of data, using that data, and then when it's not required, deleting it. But you cannot term it as secure data lifecycle. What secure data lifecycle consider is much more other than simply generation, using, and deletion. So 6 steps of secure data lifecycle are creation, which involve creating new data, storage, which involves storing your data securely into proper place, using the data, using or accessing the data on via secure channel, via encrypted channel, sharing the information, so sharing across different users or sharing across different system, again should be encrypted and should be secured, archiving the data in case data is not required at that time. You have to archive the data instead of deleting it, because deleting means removing it. No need to delete it, but there's no need to keep it as active. You can archive it to save the cost and to ensure that you are keeping that information for long term usage. And last is destroying it. So destroying comes under the same concept which we covered last week, data and media sanitization. So how you can ensure that your data is completely destroyed and completely removed. So these are the 6 steps for secure data lifecycle. Again, I'll repeat: creation, storage, usage, sharing, archiving, and destroying. These 6 steps you need to ensure that you are following so that your data is always accessed by right people and is destroyed when it is not required by proper way, instead of just removing it on the go and someone else then come in and extracting the information again. So you need to make sure you are following these 6 steps of secure data lifecycle. Now, this was very small subtopic, but it is very critical to understand secure data lifecycle because it might come in the exam, and way I understand it is one of the key concepts related to security of cloud computing. Because, like I said before, we need to make sure data is always secure. That's the whole point behind information security. All right, this brings us to the end of today's episode. I'm not sure how many topics we have covered. Let me just cross check. So we have covered common threats and we have covered secure data lifecycle. We have covered 2 subtopics only. I can cover a few more, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys with more information today. So let's head back and learn more about these 2 topics more before next week episode. And in next week episode, I'll be covering disaster recovery and business continuity planning, cost benefit analysis, and functional security requirements. There is another topic related to security consideration for different cloud categories. For example, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. I think this topic will be quite interesting, so I want to cover this particular topic maybe not in the next episode but subsequently later. So next week we'll be covering only 3 subtopics. Again, I'll repeat: cloud-based disaster recovery, business continuity planning, cost-benefit analysis, and functional security requirements. Before I stop today's episode, let me remind you guys back that I have shared the link in last week episode about the documentation from ISC Square. If you guys still haven't checked that out, I strongly suggest you guys go and check that out, because it have, like I told you, the whole syllabus, exam format, different kind of sample questions, what you need to cover, what you need to skip, and it will be good for you guys to understand a bit more, to get more clarity on what we all are preparing for, and whether we are on the right track or we are missing something. So you guys can go and check that out again if you haven't till now. Okay, see you all in the next episode. Goodbye and good luck.
Thank you for listening to Get Certified Together. If you loved our content, then please like and subscribe from your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss the notification for our next episodes and announcements.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.